Okay, good evening, everyone. I want to just mention one thing before we start. Our platform is down. Our City of Fillmore platform is down. So we are not able to stream this on our website. So there will be links to it after the fact, but right now we're working with techs to get things working again. We are streaming this on Vimeo, on YouTube, and on Facebook. So if you're trying to get in. I know we've posted it on social media, so that's where you can find us live this evening. Other than that, it will be posted after the fact, so just letting you know that. So with that, I'm going to call the City Council meeting to order, and if you would please stand and join me in the pledge. Right hand over your heart. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. And if we can get a roll call, please.
Council Member Villasenor.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Edmonds.
I am here.
Mayor McCall.
Here.
Council Member Alex.
Here.
Council Member Austin.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. And if I can get an approval of the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Motion carries. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 5. This is presentations, and we have a presentation this evening on the Active Adult Center Operations Update, and I'm going to turn that over to staff.
Good night, Mayor, residents, and council members. Tonight I would like to provide you with an update of the operations of the Active Adult Center. And so as everyone's aware, the center has been closed due to the pandemic and now due to staffing. We have been able to come up with a plan to open the center on a hybrid model. And so we have been offering classes in the past few months, but we're going to start getting ready to advertise those via the Gazette and social media. We met with the 2 commissioners from VC AAA this past week to implement a plan. And so what we have right now for October, we do have a couple of classes. We're urging residents to come and participate on those classes. Both of the schedules for October and November will be published via the Gazette and also via social media and the website. One of the things that we're going to request for the members who have seniors that would like to attend is to just share this information with them. We understand that sometimes social media and the way how we typically produce the information out there might not be the way how they're used to receiving it. So word of mouth is going to be one of the ways for us to spread out the word with our community of seniors. And we will eventually, our hope is to open the center back to normal operations, hopefully in January. On El Día de los Muertos activity that's going to be here through the Parks and Recreations, we will have a actual table from HR because we do want to promote both of the positions. So we are going to be hiring a full-time senior nutrition that's been posted for a while. So we urge residents that if they're interested in working locally in a good environment with great benefits to please apply. And we're also doing that same with the coordinator. So right now, that's the biggest hurdle of why we haven't opened the center is because we don't have the necessary staff needed to operate full board, but we will be doing a hybrid model. If you don't want to participate in a class, that's okay. We will have the center open with coffee every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. So if you want to just come and socialize, feel free to come and use the center. The way how the center is set up right now until we have full staff will be modified as well, not how it used to be until we can do that. So we're planning on using the back room, which is closer to the back of the kitchen, just because Right now, we're still operating in the way of doing a drive-through pickup and the Meals on Wheels. And so the way how we have it assembled, it's easiest for volunteers as well. So I just urge the community, if there's any volunteers out there that would like to also help us distribute meals, we need those. If you're a volunteer thinking about putting out together a class, we're looking for volunteers that could just do self-contained classes, such as like a puzzle class, a book club, something that could just continue even if the volunteer is not present at the time. We just ask for you to commit because we don't want to start something and not have a continuation with the process. So that's the update I have in a nutshell. I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions for staff?
Well, first I want to thank you because I've had a lot of comments about it, so I really appreciate that. And the knowledge is really important. Can you tell me who is doing the chair exercise? Do you have the name?
I don't have the name.
okay.
I can,
No,
come
that's
back.
fine.
Yeah. Any questions, I think, pertaining to the classes, I can give you the phone. Julian Sendejas is right now helping us run the center hybrid. So his phone number is 805-524-3030. I can for sure get back to you with specific names. I don't have that off the top of my head.
And then at the beginning of the pandemic, I had a list of all the names of the people that had gone to the senior center, active adult center, and we divide them up into groups and we called to make sure they were okay and that they had the food they needed and told them about the services that were available. Does anyone have that list? Are they able to call?
So we have a database through the county because of a lot of compliance, HIPAA, and all those sort of private
Right.
information. At the time of the pandemic, the person who handled our grant has now moved on to another division from the county, and so because it was a state of emergency, we had to get out the word, and that report was produced, but I did check with them recently, and there's no way for us to get the most updated one. We
Okay.
do intakes every year, and so based on the intakes that we receive paper, that gets inputted into the system. And I know that some of the community members have been reaching out to the center, and then Julian's been answering questions.
Good. Well, thank you so much for doing that. It's not easy.
Any other questions for staff?
I do, Mary. Thank you. Thank you, Edika. Thank you for the update. Question about transportation. Has there been in the past, or can there be now, a system of transportation between Fatco, Heritage Valley, maybe going to El Dorado? Has anyone discussed any kind of transportation assistance?
I haven't discussed anything about that, but I know that there is something that we can actually tap through the county, and so that's a service that the county typically manages.
Okay.
Well, we also have the circulator that goes through town, and it must stop there. So it would seem to me that if we could get the schedule of it, we could let people know how to get on it, because it goes everywhere.
Yeah, we can certainly
know if
do
it
that
goes
and
to
send those.
Eldorado.
I mean, whatever information we're sending, and just so that everyone's also aware of the calendars, and the new flyer is going to be actually sent with the meals. So on Mondays when we distribute the meals, any sort of communication, that has been our past practice. We typically put those flyers inside the bags of food that gets picked. Obviously, that doesn't go out to everyone because not everyone is receiving that service, but at least we're disseminating the information and utilizing that.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So thank you so much. You always do so much for us, and we really appreciate it. Thorough report, and you're definitely doing all you can to get the word out. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. Okay, so with that, we're going to move on to the consent calendar. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to
Public
approve.
comments?
Oh, sorry, public comments.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. It's been a very long day. So I have two public comments this evening, and we'll have 3 minutes. First public comment is Ricky Contreras. If you want to come on up. And that will notify you when you have a minute left.
Oh, geez. I've never been on a timer, so I'm going to try to do this. I left my
Okay.
speech at home. I moved to Fillmore 3 years ago. We've been here, me and my wife, we gave everything to be in this town. You know, we wanted somewhere safe for our kids. And so far, it has been just that. Safe, perfect for our kids. But I'm concerned. River Street is, someone's gonna die. My son was almost a statistic a month ago. Crossing the street, went to go see his friends. Traffic was clear. I was watching it. Car hits the corner next to the roundabout behind the church. I live at 988 River. Probably about 80 miles an hour. Almost took out my kid. Something has to get done. I've done research on what speed bumps cost. I have done different type of analysis in my mind on how to help the city, because something has to change. I sent messages to all the council members, the future council members, asking what they would do. And because that is what's important to me right now, is River Street. And River Street is where I live, and I don't want to be the statistic. About 2 months ago, I was trying to get in my driveway, someone stops, gets out of the car, curses me out. It says, F you, because I am just trying to back up because I can't go front end, because if not, I can't get out. Called Ventura County Sheriff's Department. I have had 12 calls to law enforcement. I have made numerous reports to your Public Works Department, and nothing seems to get done. And so I'm just putting on the table, I know I got a minute and a half, yeah, I'm doing pretty good half the time there. I'm just putting on the table because it is important. And, you know, being part of the CERT team just recently with Mike, it's eye-opening that I know there's a lot going on in our city, and we shouldn't have to worry about our fire department having to respond to someone on River Street, right? Semis don't belong on River Street. They don't belong, they don't fit. And I see them try to squeeze by that roundabout, taking people's driveways, taking their sprinklers. I don't care about property. That's the meaningless part to me. But my family is important. And if something happens to my family as a result of something not happening to River Street, because something's changed. It's not the same river that was 10 years ago. It's changed a lot. So with that, something has to change with that city. Let me know how I can help. You have my information. If you need grants, I will write them. I will start searching for money to repair, to put speed bumps in. I don't mind. I will do that. So let me know how I can help, because something needs to change on that street.
Very good. Thank you. You did good on time, too, for one not having to do that on a timer before. Next up, we have Mr. Bill Faith. If you'd like to come on up, sir.
Thank you. Good evening. On behalf of a number of the people at the downtown merchants, I'm hoping that the City Council does not forget the downtown area this year for the holiday season. Please. It was forgotten last year. A number of merchants mentioned it to me. We need to put up the signs and so on from Santa Clara and up above Sespe as well. Please don't forget us this year. It was kind of empty and cold during the parade without one sign up saying Happy Holidays. I just liked very much listening to what Ricky had to say. I'm on the same page. I've been here 15 times over the last 20 years asking about a stronger police presence. And with the most due respect to your persons here, I've heard a lot of talk, but very little action when it comes to more police presence here. My car was stolen on Sunday night, and last night the deputy came to the door at 10. He said, "We found your car. I'll take you out to Bargsdale where the car is." And halfway before we got to 126, he had a domestic disturbance that he had to respond to. He had to take me back, turn his lights on, and take me back. So I had to call a neighbor to take me out, and there was one other officer out there. 2 officers on in a town where now we've got 250,000 people living in Santa Clarita, and you can see cars bumper to bumper all the way back beyond the bridge. And I was here in June, and I talked about the need for a motorcycle police officer, and that really helped, and the sign. And I saw that deputy was out one day. I saw a deputy out on a motorcycle. This town is 18,000, but we're probably closer to 20. And as Mr. Ricky said, just down there on River Street, these people coming across on the 23 that are going on their way westward, they're cutting down on that River Street and they're going 40 miles an hour. And it's not the fault of our sheriff's department. It's a lack of having enough officers on board. And as he said, sooner or later, there's going to be a tragedy that's going to happen, and there isn't enough people on board to be able to take care of it. And I came here back in 1990 because the traffic coming across Central Avenue right there by the theater was so bad, and cars
10
coming by
seconds,
so
Bill.
fast. And it reminded people that in 1982 there was a man that was killed walking across the street there. And sooner or later, unless we have a stronger police deputy presence here in the town, we're going to pay a penalty for it. It costs, nothing's free.
Okay,
but that's
Bill, your time's up.
Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so those are the only public comments I have, and now we're going to move on to the consent calendar. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a motion and a second.
I have some questions on the 7A.
Okay, ask your questions.
Okay, I have a couple for the fire department. On page 9, it talked about getting turnouts, and I remember you discussed that before. Can you tell us what they are? Just help us know what we're spending our money on.
Sure, you bet. So the fire turnouts that were authorized are the firefighting ensemble that the firefighters wear. It's comprised of a coat, big heavy coat, and pants. There's other components of it, but the turnout specifically is the coat, which is 3-layered. There's a external flame proofing, and then underneath that is a vapor barrier, and then underneath that is a thermal liner. And those three components make up both the pants and the coat itself. So that's normally what's referred to in the term turnout.
Turnout, okay. And then the second question I have about the same expenditures, it was on medical surgical supplies, and I wonder what kind of supplies are needed for the fire department. Clearly they are, but I'm not sure what.
So everything from a Band-Aid to a backboard in size and dimension. Anything you could think of that would come in a normal first aid kit, plus a lot more than that. The routine expenses are primarily for what we call disposables. When we go on an emergency incident, instead of trying to wash and decontaminate everything, there's certain items in the emergency medical field that are kind of throwaways. We also do a lot of exchange with the ambulance, but most of our recurring costs are for masks, for a lot of the products that keep us safe, the gowns that we wear on medical calls and so forth. I'm not sure the particular expenditure, but I know that we have one major vendor, McKesson, and we're able to tag on to AMR ambulance to get a price reduction on that. So any of those EMS costs would probably be that, unless it was a specific expenditure that we may have a grant for. So.
And you feel that the money that we give you covers what you need?
At this point in time, we the budget that we have, going through that process, we're comfortable with what we have. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. On page 20, it was a whole bunch of items, and they didn't say what it was. It was a line item, and many of the line items were the same budget number. So I was just wondering why we don't be a little more efficient with that and say, if it's the same budget number, add all that together instead of individual ones. I'm sure that's a financial thing, but you can tell me at another time. And then the last one, I'm really happy to see that we're getting gopher and squirrel treatment taken care of at the parks. So that's all.
Lynn, if I could make a comment on your page 20, I believe the page before, it's the different ones for Patterson Hardware. And then there's different invoices for each item.
But
So you want to
But
talk about?
it doesn't say what they are.
Oh.
Does it? It just has the invoice number.
No, it just says, supplies. I mean,
Oh,
it's,
just
but it's
says
from
supplies,
Patterson, though.
yeah.
It's from
Okay,
Patterson.
thank you.
Okay, I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, we're going to move on to item number 8A. This is new business, and this is to authorize funding and contract for SCADA and upgrades for the city's Public Works Water Division. I'm going to turn that over to staff.
Thank you. You will be seeing me a lot tonight. So I wanted to request City Council to consider authorizing funding and contracts for SCADA. SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition, for those of you who don't know. So as part of the Public Works Department functions, we also run what we typically refer to as the water system for the city. And so over the past few months, we have realized that there are some necessary infrastructure updates that need to happen. And this is why we are requesting you to authorize the amount of a contract with Control Systems for $983,717.74. This will be paid out of the DIF funds, so nothing will be touching the general funds or the funds from the water enterprise. As part of that, we have some electrical components that need to be updated. Training needs to be provided to staff. We also need to upgrade the server that we have. And then we need to purchase a new server so that we can install what's called Historian. What Historian does is starts tracking all the data that the wells and the reservoirs collect. And so how we're doing it right now is very manual. We send out someone takes a log, and then all that data at the end of the year needs to be put into this massive report that goes to the state, which, as you can imagine, is very time consuming. And so by us implementing this efficiency, everything could be automated and we can just query those reports and mirror what the ER report, which stands for the Electronic Reporting Annual Report that we submit to the state, could just be all automated, and the data could just all be filtered into different reports that go to different agencies. And that's technically what we're trying to achieve here. Some of the things that typically the SCADA system does, it monitors the levels of the chlorine, the environments of the conditions of the wells, the pumps, the valves, the filters, and so on. And so it's really important for us to invest back into the infrastructure that holds everything into place. I do have Bruce Borders here, and I would just want him to come to the front and just introduce himself. He will be the one that will be working with us. SCADA systems are very unique, and that service is very unique as well. And so we're happy that he has been helping us during the past almost, 8 months or so? We've been working together. So if you want to just come up and give a little bit about yourself, that would be great.
Hello, I'm Bruce Borders. I'm here representing Control Systems West, and we're a control integrator. And so we build, a lot of what we do is we build electrical control panels and equipment. Our shop where we build our equipment is UL certified, so the equipment that we furnish and upgrade for you guys, would carry UL labels, and it's individual the equipment would be individualized for the applications, but yet we can still provide UL labeling, which helps with liability, because now we're following a standard, which may not quite be the case on how some of the equipment's out there right now, and so we can upgrade that and reduce liabilities as well by saying, okay, well, this is certified equipment. It is designed. We'll provide. We have an engineering department where we'll put together detailed drawings, and so you'll have records as how the equipment's wired, how it's been updated, what there'll be bills of material, so you'll know actually what the items are in the equipment. So when maintenance is needed, it'll be oh, okay, we need one of these, and this is how it's wired, so we can we or someone else can city staff, whomever can troubleshoot it expeditiously and accurately, and so that some things that aren't there right now. A lot of the equipment's older and antiquated, and we can help and standardize it as well too. On top of that, as was mentioned, was the reporting aspects. I mean, that's going to be huge, because now you're looking at trends and moving a mouse so you can see, okay, what is this, and then having to record it, and along with manual data that's taken, and we can store that all into a server and make it much more user friendly for sure. And we also have technical staff, and Luis Medina, who has been out here on a few occasions helping with the programming at the sites and improving some of that. And he's an electrical engineer as well, and he will provide training so that the operating staff can learn more about how the system functions, where to get data, where to get alarms, how and what that means, and how to troubleshoot it themselves without having to contract with us to come help with that. They'll be able to do that most things on their own. And it'll be much more reliable than what's there now. And we also have the facility to be able to come out and calibrate equipment and make sure that what you have is operating properly. And so we've been in business for over 30 years, and we specialize in water and wastewater applications, which is, there's a few of us that do that, but a very few, and it's something that we've done. We've also recently just updated your wastewater treatment plant SCADA system. And we went out and saw them earlier today, and they seem very happy with the results we've done, and feel like we can help and do the same thing for you guys here with the water.
Thank you, Bruce. So that pretty much concludes our presentation. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
So I think we talked about this several years back, if I remember right. Didn't we, Dave? I mean, we've talked about this numerous times over the past 10 years that I've been here. And I think it's just been technology that held us back. It's been funding that's kept us back, and just finding the right partner. So it sounds like we've kind of narrowed things down, and we're really at a point where we really need to start thinking about this. Obviously the reports that we send back to the state are really critical, and it's getting even more critical at this point. So, our people have been out there taking manual notes on these wells for many years, so I certainly see the value in this, no question. I know that it's kind of sticker shock to look at it, but, as you mentioned, it's coming out of DIF funds, and it's nothing that's, coming out of our initial coffers right now. It's money that's been set aside. So is there any other questions for staff?
I do have a question. Thank you, Mayor. Erika, when in the report it says from the DIF fund, which has sufficient unallocated monies to be used to fund this project, I'm just wondering, if we do fund it, what is left in the water DIF fund? Do you happen to know, like just percentage-wise, how much are we spending of the DIF?
I don't know that off the top of my mind, but I can get back to you.
Okay, great. That was just a question that came to my mind. And then question about security, because I know we talked about this when we approved the Apex grant, and I'm wondering if security regarding SCADA is that part of Apex's work that we've already funded, or is any of the 20,000 or so, or 16,286 of Apex being used for this purpose, or that's just equipment?
So the 16,000 and change is just to buy the equipment.
Okay.
So whatever services they will still provide us will be part of the contract that we already have in place. So we have been working cohesively between Apex Control Systems and the city to make sure, because cybersecurity is huge, especially in the water realm. So we are working on receiving the findings. They already concluded with their initial site visit, Apex did. And so I've been working with them, and once we have those available, we'll come back and provide you with additional details. But we've talked about providing training to staff and also doing a couple changes to make sure that everything's secured.
Okay, great, wonderful. And I just had one comment to add, and that was about training. And I know when I first came on to the city, I was given a tour of the wells, of the reservoirs, and of the SCADA system. And I think it's definitely important for training, of course, of the staff who are going to handle it, but also, again, just thinking security-wise or emergency-wise to ensure that we have multiple people who understand and can handle the SCADA system here on staff. So that's just my comments. Thank you.
Lynn?
We're real proud. I'm real proud that we do have our water source. We're very fortunate to have a water source. I know of a couple families that moved here because we have our own water source, and but to keep it safe and healthy for our community is so important. So I'm very pleased that this is happening. Also, it will help staff time, and I'm pleased that it will give that a little bit of support for the staff so that it won't be quite as onerous. So, well done.
Thank you.
So one of the other questions that I had as I'm sitting here thinking about this, so this is the hardware, basically getting things up to speed, getting things, happening, training. Are they going to be available in the event we're going to need additional training down the road? Obviously we have staff changes, things like that. We want to make sure that we are covered for that for the long term. I know you're not going anywhere. It sounds like you've been in business for 30 years, but that's going to be important that, we have the resources to go back in the event we need to.
And I can also chime in. So they have provided already a training, and they developed a best practice booklet that we can hand out if we have transition in personnel. Now we have operating standard procedures in place, so that was recently developed in the initial training. Obviously that's going to expand with the additional tools that we'll have available to staff, and we'll work closely with the new municipal services director as well to make sure that that continues as well.
Okay, yeah, we just want to make sure that's important. So any other questions for staff? No? Recommendations?
I'd like to do a motion to appropriate the total of $963,800 from the Water Diff Fund. Number 2, authorize the city manager enter an agreement in the form of approved city attorney's office for an amount not to exceed $983,714.75 for upgrades and improvements to the city's water department SCADA system, and authorize the city manager to execute a purchase order with Apex for the new server and related equipment.
I'll second. Oh, go ahead, Sima.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you for your report. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks.
Okay, so with that, we're going to move on to item 8B, and this is considering an awarding professional services agreement, and I'm going to turn that over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm here today to request the award of professional services to Peckham and McKinney for the amount of $25,500 for the executive recruiting services. This would be for our current vacancy of finance director. As Eric has mentioned in the past in previous meetings, we're currently facing a lot of challenges in the workforce, just in general in Fillmore, and then with COVID and all these new benefits that you guys have discussed before about working from home, and just that's made it a little more difficult, and especially for a position like a finance director that we would want them here, a little more long term. We did get 3 quotes. they were the middle quote, but we have a recent contract with them, and overall, we like the experience that we've had. They did give us a slight discount of $1,000 as well. The contract would include an estimated 14-week recruiting timeline. Hopefully, we'll have someone in here, early next year. They would do the full candidate sourcing and advertising, initial screening of qualified applicants, including the reference check, and they would have a 1-year placement guarantee for the applicant. I guess that actually concludes my presentation. I'm sorry. Any questions?
Any questions for staff?
I do have one.
Okay.
I know that surprises you.
Go ahead.
On page 93, it has the budget reallocation. And I think there might be an error because we're just looking at the $25,500, right? That's all we're looking at for expenditures right now. Because it says that we're also approving the $73,735 as two unbudgeted items.
I can answer that question. And so what that is, every time that we have unallocated funds, we have to make an adjustment. And so I'm just pretty much demonstrating there that we're going to be adding the $25,500 to the current budget of $48,000 for a new total of the $73,735. So that captures the previous contract that you approved with the initial balance that we had budgeted at the beginning of the fiscal year.
Because in the reason for adjustment, it says provide sufficient funding for two unbudgeted recruitments.
That was a typo, so you're
Oh, okay,
correct in that.
okay.
It's just one.
That was a confusion. Okay, all right, that was my only question.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Jackie.
All right, thank you.
Well, this is certainly
Okay,
important.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, all right, Mayor, I'll make that motion that we award professional services agreement to Peckman and McKinney in the amount of $25,500 for executive recruiting service.
And I'll second that.
Oh, do I need to read the rest of the motion?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. All right, well, my motion is for the whole recommendation. Go ahead.
Very good.
And I second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, so we're going to move on to item number 8C, and this is approval of a full-time, unrepresented Public Works Senior Management Analyst. I'm going to turn that over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm requesting City Council to approve a proposed new full-time unrepresented Public Works Senior Management Analyst classification and job description for the second half of the current fiscal year. And as we've been discussing, Public Works is not only responsible for overseeing numerous administrative tasks and providing, maintenance to parks and streets and the water service and everything along those lines, vehicle maintenance, storm water maintenance. And so in looking at the actual division of how the department is structured, there is a need to have a senior management analyst assist management with the never-ending compliance requirements that come from different jurisdictions, but also to help us keep better track on contract management, capital improvement projects, budget line items, and also grant applications when those become available. And so, we spoke with the union. The union was supportive of us creating this new classification. We also conducted an internal salary survey, and so the salary that we're proposing is within amounts that are actually approved within the county. We are a little bit lower than other counties, but usually that's the case, and so we'll see how that changes once we are done with the classification and compensation study that you've approved last meeting. And so that is in a nutshell my presentation, and it concludes it.
Do we have anybody as an idea that might be interested in this, hiring from within?
There's a possibility that we might be able to hire within,
Okay.
and it will be posted for promotional if but also externally as well. So.
Okay, so we would just go through the same mechanisms of hiring that we've been going through if we don't hire from within, and then we would just...
Correct. So the position would be posted, and then it will be shared with the current employees.
Okay.
And then if there's an employee who is, interested, would apply, and then we would review the applications like we usually go through the normal hiring process.
Okay, great. I would love to see that happen. Obviously, we want our Fillmore employees to come here, learn more, have more tools than when they came with, become lifelong city employees, and be better people. So that would be amazing if that was going to happen. Is there any other questions for staff? Lynn?
Okay, so I also forgot to mention, and I'm sorry, it's been a long day, but we are also going to have this position assist the planning department with the development billing, so that 15% of the position will be actually handling all of the invoicing for development and making sure that we're reconciling that. So we're proposing 85% of the position be paid out of water, and then 15% would be recovered from the developer fees that we bill them. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Lynn.
I have a question on supervision. It says that the supervisor of this position will be the engineer. Is that accurate?
Correct. So primary supervision would be the municipal services director that we will be soon hiring, and then secondary supervision would be coming from me.
From you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my question, because you're doing a lot of supervision, and we're hiring a lot of people that are coming at different times. And that's a huge job. So I just wanted to know if you need help. Are we providing it? Are you okay with it?
I'm doing just fine.
And the engineers only hear certain, it's not
the Wilden engineer that we
isn't.
contract out. It's
Okay.
the new position that was approved.
Got
It's
it.
the municipal services director, utilities engineer.
that we are hiring for.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. And then would the 15% that will be working with planning, would that be under you or would under the planning
So
department?
we'll work cohesively with Kevin and his team, and then, we'll make sure that we're communicating, and then eventually that supervision will come under me, but then with the direction of Kevin and his team.
Got it. Okay, that was it.
Okay, any other questions? Recommendations? Motions?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 223906, approving the new full-time Public Works Senior Management Analyst classification, job description, and the funding allocation for this position as described above.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I know this is riveting for you, and if you are entirely bored, you are welcome to leave. You will not hurt our feelings.
Actually, I'm interested.
Okay, perfect. I'm just letting you know. Some people are afraid that you're going to hurt our feelings if you get to walk out, but totally get it. Yeah. You're welcome. So with that, we're going to move on to item 8D. This is CFD number 5 for our Heritage Valley Parks Improvement Area A bonds, and I'm going to turn that over to staff.
Thank you.
Erica, before you start that thing, I will need to recuse myself from this agenda item because I live in this area.
And I need to leave the room as well as I live in the area.
Thank you.
No, I'm stuck with this one. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you again. And this is pertaining the Community Facilities District number 5, also referred as Heritage Valley Parks. And just to give everyone a little bit of background information, because I think it helps understand the process. The CFD number 5 was formed back in February of 2006, and it included both an improvement of Area A and Area B. At the time of the formation, the purpose of the CFD number 5 was to pay for public improvements associated with 795 homes Hearthstone project. Those included an elementary school, the easterly and westerly levees, parks, certain streets, El Dorado flood control channel, and other public improvements and fees. And Hearthstone has been able to, as we all know, develop a community that's part of Fillmore. And it's done great with the assistance of the planning department. The architecture out at the bridges is very nice. You have those beautiful views, the bike path, and the park. And so those are all improvements that have been paid from the CFD. On December 8th of 2015, the CFD number 5 issued bonds secured by 336 homes. This was what we have been referring as Area A, and this was in the amount of roughly $17 million and change, and to be able to process such reimbursements. When the agreement was made, we also considered improvements of Area B, but we haven't gotten to that process yet, so that's why we're here tonight to request that. So far, the development of 459 homes in improvement Area B has increased over the several years. As of August 30th, that was, a little bit over a month ago, Hearthstone had 279 homes had been sold, and 63 homes were under escrow, leaving that 117 lots remaining to request a building permit. I checked with the planning department this afternoon. That number has dropped to 103 as of this afternoon. So the developer has indicated that the remaining construction of lots will have building permits issued technically by the end of 2023, hopefully, if everything goes as planned. And the city has levied $1,008,787 in CFD special taxes on the 342 homes in CFD number 5 improved Area B. This tax levied in 2022-2023 against the development homes will support a bond issuance of approximately $18 million under the current bond market conditions. And the issuance of CFD number 5B bonds will not increase the current tax levy on developed homes. Wanted to make sure everyone's aware of that. The issuance of CFD number 5B bonds will also assist with the overlay of districts, and we have policies in place that the city will be following, and without us not having a finance director, I'm asking City Council to provide the authority to the Assistant City Manager or the Finance Director. We hope to have one by the end of February so that we could just pass on the baton to the Finance Director to complete the process. If you authorize this bond initiation process, we will definitely need to hire professionals to assist the city with this whole process. And so in front of you have the request to issue consultant agreements to these different key players that will be helping us during the process. And we plan to, if you approve the item tonight, to come back sometime in January, at the end of January, with additional proposals for the appraisal and some other tax consultants that we will need. I'm trying to summarize everything to the best of my ability. I do have Adam Pope here. If you have very specific questions that I may not be able to answer tonight, he will be here to help me. But that's technically what we're looking at, is just whether we should request you to authorize to initiate the process of bond issuance. We'll come back with the results after. If we enter into this, we're not getting the city into debt. That's also important to mention. And all the fees associated with consultants that we will receive will be paid out of the bond issuance or the amount that we have already collected from that specific community facilities district. So that concludes my presentation.
Okay, any questions for staff? No?
No, you answered those. Right at the end, you answered the main questions I had, so.
Well, then, I would like to make the motion to approve Resolution 223904, authorizing the Assistant City Manager or City Finance Director to execute contracts with municipal advisor and certain other professionals, and permitting the administration and finance team to initiate the bond issuance process and bring contracts with other professionals and the bond documents back for final city council approval prior to the bond sale. And I want to thank Mr. Pope for coming.
And I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
I'm gonna go get Dave.
Yeah, let the others know they can come back now. Okay. Thank you for coming, Mr. Pope. Sorry, it was quick and we didn't even call on you.
Now you can leave, so you won't fall asleep.
Yeah. Yeah. And we
going to city council meeting, just smiling and waving. So.
Right. You're just here for the public comments, and we let you down tonight because there wasn't too many. So we know the truth. Okay, so we're going to resume with item 8E. This is the city attorney contract amendment. I'm going to turn that over to staff.
I should like Erica do this. She's done a great job tonight.
She's doing a great job.
Tonight, we're asking for City Council to amend the city attorney's contract. Tiffany Israel with Alshire and Winder, she's been here for around 10 years, 12 years now. She's done an excellent job representing the city, keeping your city manager in line, keeping department heads in line. She's been wonderful to work with. I've worked with a number of attorneys over my career, and she's one of the top I've ever worked with. They're given proposed rate increases to be effective of January 1 of 2023. Most of the increases are between $10 and $15. Also, most of the increases will be paid by third parties dealing with development issues and bond issues. So they have a very minimal impact on the overall general fund budget. At this current time, staff believes we do not need to have a budget adjustment at this point in time. If we do, we'll make an adjustment during the mid-year if it's necessary. So staff's recommending approval at this point in time.
Okay, any questions for staff? Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make that motion that we approve the city attorney contract amendment.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Yeah, Tiffany's done a great job for us, so we definitely appreciate you, Tiffany. Thank you. Yeah. So committee, commission, and board reports.
I have none, surprisingly.
Perfect.
That's what happens when you're going to weddings.
Anybody else?
I have one agency report, and that is from the Fillmore Pirate Basin Groundwater Sustainability Agency. And we are still waiting for approval from the Department of Water and Power as to the acceptance of our groundwater sustainability plan, but it will take a while, so probably in the new year. But what we are going through right now is a grant proposal to the Department of Water and Power for about $2 million for various groundwater sustainable projects, including studying subsidence and studying domestic wells that may need some shoring up and some work. So I'll report back next month on hopefully the approval of sending that grant off, and I'll let you know soon about how that goes. But the agency continues to function well. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, city council reports, recommendations, and comments.
I have a few.
Okay, Lynn, go ahead.
I have a comment that I spoke with a gentleman who was talking about River Street. I spoke with him last week, and I just want the city to know that we started the ball rolling on that in terms of speeding issues on River Street and also on Heritage Valley. I spoke with staff today, and we are working on it. So that is going to be, it's going to be a step-by-step process to figure out how we can crack down on the speeding on River. So.
Well, that was actually one of my questions. Is it appropriate? Would it be a good place to have speed bumps? Because they sure do slow my car down.
We can't talk about this, it's not an agenda item.
Okay.
Yeah, if anything, please ask to have this.
I can just speak to, if I can answer it. We talked about this several years ago. This is new, not a new issue.
Right, right. Well, we have one in the city, so my goal is we do something to slow the traffic down.
Okay, so we're already working on something, so we can't talk about the item, but
Will someone call Ricky and explain we're working on it?
Oh, I think I can't explain it at the moment because
Yeah.
of what Tiffany
Right.
said, but I just want, I want, particularly the gentleman who is not
Right.
here anymore tonight, if he were to watch it back, and then the rest of the constituents who are concerned about River. I'm also concerned about Heritage Valley, which is becoming a little bit of a speedway as well, and, we'd hate to, we'd hate to lose a life, right? And then say, oh, I wish we could have done something, so we're working on it.
Okay, I have a couple of things. I've been walking around town a lot lately, and a lot of people have been asking me questions. And one of them is, particularly from North Fillmore, I've had a lot of people asking if there's a prioritization of how roads are improved. Is there any schedule that we say, these are the bad roads, these are good roads, this is number one that we're going to fix? And if so, can we publish it so people are aware that a road will be fixed?
it was in last time's agenda.
Oh, I
We
wasn't
talked
here.
about this. It was, it's at the last agenda meeting.
So there is a prioritization?
Of course there is, yeah.
we do that every year.
Every year.
Could I have a copy of that then so I could be aware of it?
It was in last time's staff
Agenda,
report.
the one I missed?
It was in the staff agenda.
One meeting I missed in 4 years. Then, okay, I'll pick that up. Thank you. I'll follow up on that. Another one is with the new hires, that were not just the new hires, but the new positions. Is there any way we can have a flow chart for the city supervisor? It'd be nice to know who's in charge of what and when and where.
Sure, once we're done with the hiring, I can complete the org
Yeah,
chart.
that'd be a big help.
And
Yeah,
and
thank
have
you.
that redone.
And finally, I was not here, as you know, at the last meeting, and I was very sad to hear that the Fillmore Equestrian Center was approved to have the increase in rate. And I'll tell you why I was upset. The manager of the Fillmore Equestrian Center has done some very illegal things. He dumped dirt in the riverbed. He didn't fulfill many of the contracts that he had. And I know that
We can't talk about this.
To talk about? Can't you say why?
No. It's not an agenda item. We can't talk about this.
Well, I would just say
Lynn.
then I am
I'm
very,
sorry.
very sad that we did not follow through on that.
Okay, any other comments?
I can wait for city managers, or unless I can ask him. What Bill Faith brought up about Christmas, doing decorations up and down Central Street, have we resolved that issue with the plugins for Southern Cal Edison, or are we still in the same place we were a year ago?
The plug-in issue is still ongoing
Okay.
with Edison, and we are currently testing lights and looking at decorations to put up for holidays.
And did we further explore the solar options?
Yes, we had a couple of solar options last year we tested out, and they did not work as well as anticipated.
Okay, is there anybody else with city council recommendations or comments? Okay, I'm going to, real quick, I received a note from a very nice Delilah Alvarez, age 10. Very sweet note. Dear Mayor, I wanted to ask you if you could please bring back the May Festival because it was very fun and I saw a lot of friends and family and made so many memories. This is so sweet, and this was in my mailbox today, and I just want to, hope you're listening, and say thank you very much for reaching out, because this is civic engagement, and this is wonderful for a 10-year-old. But I also just want to mention that, unfortunately, it's not the city who puts on the May Festival. It's outside groups, and we would love for somebody to come and identify themselves as willing to put the May Festival on. We would love for that. So If you have a hankering to serve your community and do something wonderful and memorable that people love, please get involved. We would love to see the May Festival continue and come back, but unfortunately, Delilah, the city doesn't put it on. So I wish I could have better news for you. So we're going to be watching for the next person to step up so we can all make more memories. So I'll just say that. And with that, we will go to the city manager's report.
Thank you. Just one thing on Monday, it's Halloween, and we'll have our trunk or treat that day. So Central Avenue will be closed down from 2 o'clock in the afternoon till 10 at night. They'll be dealing, we'll have it blocked off over the weekend, so everybody will be notified about the closing, the road closure on Monday. So trunk or treat, please come out and have a good time.
Perfect. Okay, so with that, I'm going to recess us into closed session. We have a conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation. City Council will conduct a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4 because the city is considering whether to initiate litigation in 16 cases. So I'm going to recess us now and come back and adjourn once we're finished. So we'll see you then.
you're not in
Okay, so council is back in session. We were updated with no reportable action this evening. And with that, I'm going to adjourn our meeting to the next regular council meeting, November 8th, 2022, 6:30 p.m. right here at City Hall. Thank you all, and see you then.